somebody who was kept here every day. We have a seat here to ensure that as we go maybe to the nurse during the day, we record what time you've gone and what time you've come in.
Okay. So I know you have been here and this is your place. But I want to welcome you back officially.
Thank you.
So that we can have an interview, a small one.
Thank you.
Now, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Peter.
Maybe we start by telling our viewers who is Anne.
Anne is an alumna of this great school, the Marion Senior School. I joined this school in the year 2006 and left in 2010. After that, I joined Moi University main campus in the year 2012 and I graduated in 2016 from Moi University. From Moi University, I relaxed a bit. I graduated as a teacher, by the way. And right now, I am a teacher. I teach here in this school. I teach class 7, CRE and Kiswahili. Last time we talked about child labor. Can everybody remember what child labor is?
Yes!
I want to hear. What is child labor? Child labor, what is it? Candy?
Child labor is when a child does work for a pay and is denied their child's rights.
Very correct. Let us appreciate her. And I love what I am doing currently.
Wow, that's nice. And what 2 or more programs, activities or events impacted you the most as a student in Marion School during your time?
Program. We had a program we used to call Ladies of Faith. It was a kesha. We would be taken to various churches and we would also have keshas at the Marion farmhouse, at our Shushu's house. We would be hosted there for a night. Basically, we would share, the struggles as a lady, as a girl who's growing up. What are the challenges that you're facing? We would have people to talk to us, to just encourage us, those people that have been through that. I remember one of the keshas, we had a girl called Anne Kiguta. We used to have a lady called Valerie Kimani. Valerie Kimani is currently in the US. And, she would just come and talk to us. She would come and, fit in our group and talk to us, girl to girl talk. She would tell us, girls, things to do with boyfriend. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is what is expected of you. If you must have a boyfriend, these are the limits that you need to go with that boyfriend. She would be real with us. Something that you would not get from a mother. My mother may not be able to tell me that, or the teachers that we had could be, they were not able to tell that, but she would tell us, this is the reality. This is how you should carry yourself. And in those keshas as well, we would also give our lives, to Christ for those who have not given their lives to Christ. And one thing about those times when I was a student here is that things to do with God were things that were really valued. The way you're relating with God was something that was emphasized almost by everyone. From the teachers, from the kitchen staff, from the grounds people, everybody would have a chance of telling you it is important that your walk with the Lord is important.
Wow. Any other program or activity?
We also had a GIT. GIT is getting in touch with God, with your Creator, and with your Savior, Jesus Christ. So every Sunday, our church services, and we used to have a GIT fellowship every Thursday from 4. We would assemble in one of the classes, the whole school, we assemble in one of the classes. We have like a service, all service, and we would have external speakers come to speak to us. That particular program was of great help to me, because that is what molded the person that I am up to this moment. And that program helped me to be able to overcome most of the challenges that came with being a teenage. Yes.
So the teacher Anne that I normally see leading us in the praise and worship, the sermon sometimes you give the teachers is all because of the GIT that used to be here during your time.
Yes.
That's wonderful. That's
spiritual
wonderful.
programs that were there, I can attribute the person that I am right now to the programs that we had back in the day.
Wow, that's wonderful. And I hope you're doing the same to the learners that you are still having.
Yes.
Now that you stopped being a student, you are now a teacher. That's wonderful. Now, why would you recommend Marion to friends and family?
I would recommend because to me it is a changing ground. When I came here in Form 1, I remember in my first GIT fellowship, I was not able to introduce myself, using the correct language, English. I can't actually remember if I was even able to say what my name is in English. Reason being, where I went for my primary level education, we did not have anyone speaking English in school.
Maybe the head teacher?
Not even the head teacher. We did not even have, somebody teaching you science in English.
Yes.
I remember my science teacher up to date because she was telling us, enone pollen grain.
Oh my God.
Pollen grain. I'm being told enone pollen grain. I'm being told like in Kikuyu.
But the exam comes in English.
Yes.
How will you be able to answer that?
You can imagine. I am being taught in Kikuyu. When it comes to math, emwe, ogerera, igere. Literally.
Yes.
In Kikuyu. So you can imagine I've been through that program from class 1 all the way to 8. Then here I come. Everybody is speaking in English.
Yes.
There is Anne.
From Ushago.
Yes. She's supposed to introduce herself.
Yes.
We are in Form 1. Form 2, 3 and 4 want to know the Form 1's majina yao and all that.
Exactly.
So kila mtu ameshine. They're introducing themselves so well. People are clapping for them. Here comes Anne. Broken English. Everybody laughed.
I can imagine.
Everybody laughed. And I'm like, gosh, where am I? But I'm telling you, by the time I was getting out of school, I got an A in English.
Wow.
My composition was always the best. We had a teacher called Mrs. Nyongesa.
Yes.
And in my 4th year, I had Mr. Ashford Gikunda.
Yes.
He would read my compositions in class.
Yes.
The best written composition.
Transitioning from
the
Kikuyu.
A girl who could not introduce herself in English. She could communicate to a point the teacher would read my composition in class. What a transition. Yani, I was transformed completely. And actually the English that I'm speaking right now, it is this school.
All because of Marion.
Yes.
Wow, that's nice. So, which life lessons did you draw from Marion schools?
That if you have something and there is somebody who does not have, irrespective of how little it is, just share with that person. I went through high school through sponsorship. I was sponsored throughout, from Form 1 all the way to Form 4. Not just the tuition, including my personal effect. I would just come to school without anything. I go to the reception. We had a lady there called Mrs. Getao. I would go there and tell her I have come. This is the way I am. She would leave everything else that she was doing. She would give somebody to stand in for her. She would take me all the way outside there in the market with a list. This is what you need. This is what you need. Sabuni, sanitary towels, mafuta, everything. I come back and I go and do my admission. Every opening, I would go to the reception and I am provided for everything that I needed for the term. That is one thing that I learned. That if you have something, you never know the impact that you create in the life of that person.
Sure.
So help. The little you can, the far you can go.
So can we say that Marion School is known for sharing? Because I've heard many children saying that sharing is caring. So it's something that was started long time ago.
Yes.
Sharing is caring.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a nice thing.
That is something that as Marion, I believe everybody, that is the spirit that they carry with them.
Wow. That's nice. When did you realize during your course of study that you could teach?
Actually, all through my high school, I knew I would be a teacher. Funny enough, when I was in primary, I knew I would be a mortuary attendant.
Oh God. What do you mean?
That is
mortuary attendant?
Yes.
Are they called undertaker?
That
Somebody
is,
to do with the mortuary?
yes, cleaning those dead people.
Why?
Because where I come from,
Yes.
when somebody dies, you are not allowed, to see whoever has died. Huyu amekufa, they're just, in the coffin and they are buried.
Yes.
And there is this time my grandfather died. I really wanted to see my grandfather in their last days. But now as children, we were locked outside. We weren't allowed to see. And so I was like, why are they not allowing me to see just because that person is dead? And then the people that were allowed to go in and see the dead person,
yes,
they are afraid. They don't want to go in. So in my mind, I was like, why are they afraid of these dead people? When somebody dies, do they change, from who they were to become like something that can swallow you anytime? Or why are people afraid?
Okay.
So as a baby, as a kid, I really wanted to, nataka niingie hapo, where they are fearing, that is where I want to be. I want to, interact with those dead people every time. So even throughout in primary, I knew.
Yes. That you will be an undertaker. Yes. A person who deals with the dead bodies. Yes.
But then when I joined high school, that one now started evaporating slowly by slowly. And the way people were, the way the teachers were treating us, I now thought, when I was in primary, teachers were not that friendly. I think that is why the whole idea of being a teacher had not, come into me, because my teachers would harass us, anyhow, talk, bad language. But when I came here, the teachers were so calm. Here I am, I'm struggling with some topics in physics. We had a teacher in Form 1 called Mrs. Wambogo. She calls me and she tells me, Anne, kindly, this is how we do magnetism. Let me help you. She's so concerned that I am not getting it. As opposed to before, when a teacher would tell me, if you cannot understand, enda mzazi wako akusaidia ama uanguke tu mtihani. But here I am, somebody is so concerned about me not getting it and takes me step by step. This is what you're supposed to do. This is how it is done. So I developed that love for teaching. And I was like, so with the people who do not understand, the learners who don't understand what the teacher is teaching, as a teacher, if I show them love, so that means they can actually perform, because I ended up performing very well in my physics. Courtesy of a teacher sitting me down and guiding me slowly.
Which teacher do you really remember well because of having much impact on you?
The physics teacher. I had one in Form 1. She was called Mrs. Wambogo. From there, we had another teacher called Mr. Danson Mwangi. He was very patient with us. And with me anyway, because I was not very good in maths. And you realize that physics has a lot of mathematics. And he was so patient with me. He took me step by step. Even the B+ that I got in my physics, they really worked. And they really helped me to get that. So Mr. Danson, the physics I got, I attribute it to him. Then the English, that I got an A. what I can say is that Mrs. Nyongesa really, she really worked hard to ensure that I got that A, because she would give me newspapers to go and read. She would give me compositions of people who had written compositions earlier to go and read and rewrite without, looking at the composition. And that really helped me a lot. Then here comes Mr. Ashford, who, in as much as when he introduced himself when we were in Form 1, we all laughed because he had an accent. But he really is a great, great teacher. And he actually helped me a lot. So those are the 3 teachers that I can say they really impacted me.
Yes. You have told us that you came from the rural. So that means that you learned from grade 1 all the way to standard 8 in the rural.
Yes.
Then when you were to join high school, you joined Marion. Do you remember how you ended up at Marion?
Oh my, how I ended up at Marion? I could say, in our church, we had something like a family get together where we were expected to come to church with our family, relatives, anyone who you would call to come to church with. We had a guy called Mr. Kagai, who happened to be friends with Akina Betty Kimani and Mr. Kimani. Betty Kimani is the board chair, the Marion Schools, and the CEO, Mr. Kimani. They were friends to that guy, Mr. Kagai. So they were invited to come to the family Sunday. So they came all the way in Kirinyaga. So there I am, leading in praise and worship, na ninapiga ngoma, the drum, that traditional drum.
Yes. You're good at that?
Yes.
Okay.
So I am leading Kikuyu songs.
Yes.
And I'm drumming it. And we praised. And Mr. Kemani and Mrs. Kemani were so elated. And so after the service, they asked Kagai, okay, tell me about that girl that was leading. I was very small. I'm small even right now, so you can imagine that time how small I was.
Must have been a small
Yes, a tiny girl, but she's leading service, a whole service. Praises, I'm the one who is in charge. So tell me about that girl. And so they talked, that girl is just did her class 8. She's struggling in terms of fees.
Oh, you had just completed your primary school.
She's struggling. And so, as I was told, Mrs. Kimani said, is it possible to have that girl near me? Because I want that girl near me so that she can be singing when I am there. Not this one-time thing. I want her to be singing near me. And so, Mr. Kagai sent the wife, and the wife came and talked to me. There's somebody who wants you to go to a school in Nairobi, in high school, and she's going to sponsor you fully. And I'm like, I will. Can we go now? Because I had looked at the situation at home.
I can imagine the feeling.
Yes.
Yes.
And I told Nairobi. Kwani mimi nimewahi kwenda Nairobi siku gani nyingine? Of course I had not gone. So first of all, I want to go and see that Nairobi, in Ushago, you are told about Nairobi and you really think it is another world altogether. So I really wanted to go to Nairobi. And there I am. Mrs. Kagai now had to organize for me to come here to do interview. So I came, I did my interview, and that is how I joined this school.
So, Teacher Anne, whom did you look up to while you were still at Marion? And whom do you now admire globally?
While I was at Marion, I looked up to the late Samuel Mbugua, the founding director. If you talk about somebody who had a big heart, then that guy tops the list. He was a grandfather, not just to his, family, but to us all who are in Marion. And he was so humble. I've never seen a person with the kind of humility that Guka had. Guka would come during our meals. I remember he would come, sit down with us when we were eating our breakfast. He would come, sit down with us. Be served the same meal we are eating, eat with us. And then after eating, he does not expect that somebody will collect his cup. He, individually would take the cup and go and put it where it is supposed to be kept. And I used to look at him and I'm like, this man has money, he has a name to himself. I mean, he was the Nairobi mayor. What do you expect? But he would take his plate back to the kitchen where it is supposed to be. So I really looked up to him, God, even me, when I, achieve all like what he has achieved, I want to do like this guy. Globally, I look up to Oprah Winfrey. I'm looking at that lady, the achievements that she has done, and the struggles that she had to go when she was growing up. She was raped, severally. And that did not stop her from becoming the person that she is right now.
Now, which people, at most four, had the most impact on you while you were at Marion?
Of course, Mrs. Betty Kimani tops the list. She's a woman who, up to date, I lack words to explain the kind of a person she is. First of all, she's a very, very witty person. On top of that, she has a very big heart. As a mother, she would always ask me, Anne, are you fine? Are you doing well? I expected after she brought me here and she ensured that I was provided for with everything. Then, after all, I've provided for her. What else do I need to bother myself with? But can you imagine, she took me to several counseling sessions and she would pay for them. I used to have issues when I think about my family and the struggles. I would break down. She would take me to a professional counselor. She would pay for me. You realize that professional counselors are very expensive. On top of her sponsoring me and being provided for with everything, she would sponsor even my counseling sessions. And she was concerned about my whole being, not just the grades that I'll get out of school, but even as I go out there, emotionally, am I standing? Another person that had a huge impact was the school matron, houseman. We used to call her house mother. She was called Catherine Gitari. She's a pastor right now.
Thank you, Anne, for the good interview. You have done very well. And really, I would like to come to your classes you are teaching one day, just to show people that you really transformed from being a student into a teacher.
You're most welcome.
I don't know which day you can give us an appointment.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Yes.
Anne, this was the landscape of your block, the senior school. You remember everything about this?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
We used to bangaiza here. I used to call it bangaiza. Yani during break time.
Yes.
Kwa tunajilaza hapa sisi wote.
Your favorite meal while in Marion?
Oh, rice and kamande. And it was so delicious. It was being prepared by a lady who was called Mama Katole.
Mama Katole?
Yes. Katole was her daughter.
Yes.
She was also a student here.
Okay.
So, yes, that was my favorite meal at that time. Yes.
What about you had a specific day that was your favorite in the course of the week?
My favorite day? Can I remember? But I used to love Thursday. Reason being, we never Okay, on Thursdays we used to have like, so I loved Thursdays.
Yes.
So I looked for, from 3 we never had lessons. We would just go to VIT.
Yes.
So I looked forward.
Did you have swimming those particular days?
Yes, we used to have swimming.
Mm.
We used to go swimming
It was on
every Saturday.
every Saturday as a senior.
Yes.
We also still have them, and they are good. They normally help children to relax and also to avoid the class monotony, and also for the exercises.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Teacher Anne,
Most
for the
welcome.
good interview.
Thank you.
I've heard that you have a good story, and I know that we can't finish everything. Maybe your parting shot?
My parting shot is Marion anytime. And I want to, give my sincere gratitude to the board chair, Mrs. Betty Kimani. She did a great job. She is doing a great job even right now. And I pray that may God continue, revealing to her exactly what she needs to do to the school so that it keeps on soaring high and high. And also, I want to say, may Guka continue resting in peace. The founding director, he was such a man with a great heart. And, to the parents out there, could be you're wondering, where do I take my child? What do I do to this child who, I have been trying to talk to, I have taken to counselors. They are not, being who I want them to be. Bring them to Marion, and you will not regret.
Thank you very much, Teacher Anne. See you later.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.